Sometimes I wonder, are we crazy for doing this? Are we crazy for doing this?
I think so. It'd be a lot easier to just go to the store. But
I don't mean just milking. I mean all of it.
that's what I meant too. I do have days where I'm like, oh, I would just so much rather go to the beach, go to the store, go, you know, just have days of frolic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think we're crazy, but I do think that like we need to find. I've been thinking about this, and I've been realizing that I've been putting the work first. Like that's the most important thing is the work.
Mm-hmm.
And so my joy, I've been lacking a lot of joy in my life because of that. And as I spent time just like asking God, like, is this, excuse me, try and talk deep here. As I spent time asking God, like, is this what we're supposed to be doing? Because it just feels like it's all we do is work. He's been showing me how like work shouldn't be first.
Yeah.
It should be, honestly, last. And how like I'm trying to like get up and milk animals by like 6:30, but that it's okay to like do the things in the morning that give me life. Not saying the animals don't, but other things like my Bible study, exercise, read to the kids, those things can be first, and it's okay. But in my conversation with God, I'm like, but then the work doesn't get done. And he's like, oh, maybe not as fast as you want it to get done. So there is some letting go in this. I'm still really thinking about all this and like meditating on it and trying to figure out how it all works out practically. But it's a new thought to me that these other things are more valuable. They're more important. And I knew that, but it's like I didn't realize that I didn't know it deep down. So I just realized recently that I didn't know it deep down. That I was valuing the work above my relationships, all my relationships. My relationship with God, my relationship with you, and my relationship with our children. And I was valuing, and that has to change, or I'm gonna lose the depths and the fruit from those relationships.
Yeah.
And I'm also gonna burn out.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to change. But I haven't changed yet. Still working on it.
Well, you're doing good here. It's 10 o'clock. It's not 6 o'clock, so.
Oh no. Haven't yelled at anyone today too. Not that I've done a really good job over the years not yelling at my kids or at Arthur as much, but it is one of my weaknesses. And the reason it's one of my weaknesses is because I have like this idea of what needs to happen.
Yeah.
And everyone else is just, in my opinion, lollygagging. And it makes me angry and frustrated. And it's like, it's because my priorities, I didn't know it. I thought my family, God was first and you were first and my children were first, you know, whatever order, but they weren't, because in my heart and in my mind, it was like, we have to get the work done, then we can get to that stuff. And God's been showing me, no, you have to get to that stuff. That stuff has to be first. It has to be. Oops, sorry. So, yeah. I'm realizing it's okay to milk the cow at 10. It's okay to do whatever we need to do to make sure that the things that matter the most are in the correct order of priority. But I've been that way my whole life, so it's going to be a work in progress.
Yeah.
So I'm trying really hard to do things differently. Anyways, so that means I'm getting up at 5:30, and I'm okay with that. I have my alone time. But you know what? That means I have to be disciplined and go to bed at like by 10, not at like midnight.
Yeah.
So once again, rest comes before work, because at night, you know, I want to veg out, or I want to like work on homeschool stuff, or I want to read inspiring books, and it's like, no, you need to go to bed at 10 so that your priorities can... I just feel like I'm constantly being interrupted by the gas. Anyways, I know I'm rambling, but this is just what I've been learning and thinking about, and I don't want to let go of this until it becomes like who I am, not just like something God showed me.
We were just talking about how both of us actually really liked what Brianna just said, and we're both thinking, hey, we could just put that whole clip in. And that's not typically something we do in our videos. Our videos are pretty highly edited, and we're often torn because with YouTube we feel like we need it to grow in order to have continued freedom, financial freedom in our lives, and to not be cash strapped all the time. So we from the beginning said, hey, we're going to make this happen. And to a certain, I mean, our hard work has paid off. But when we're honest about it, I think we have to say like that we were just really blessed in our YouTube channel growing initially, honestly. And we'd like to see it grow more. But so putting that whole clip in, what does that mean? I think sometimes we just need to trust that if we share our story, that that is trusting the power of what actually is happening in our life and what God's doing in our life. If we share our story, that it's going to be enough. It's going to be what we need to share. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to put out always really boring videos or long talking videos, but I think that we need to be open to saying, hey, let's get down and actually share what's going on with us, even if it is more boring. And has less, I don't know, viral potential or something. And how that actually translates in part is editing less. And what that means is having more time and more sleep. Which is, it's like I'm afraid to not put in the work. I'm afraid to not put in hours onto it. But I think in some ways it would give us a better life. And I don't know, it's kind of the same thing you're talking about, which is it's like being afraid to trust, basically.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's what God has been showing me, is that like can we go out there? God has just been showing me like I am a really strong woman. Like I am so strong. And in that strength, I have really missed out on trusting him.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly. And I mean, you know, obviously compared to God, I'm weak, you know, and so yeah, I feel so free. It's just so good and so free, and like we can rest and it's okay. And like we can trust that God is for us, you know, and not against us, which I already knew that, but it's like, I guess somewhere inside of me, I have felt, and probably still do, I'm still working through this, that if it's gonna happen, I have to make it happen. If we're gonna get the work done, I better get it done. You know, if we're gonna succeed, I better work my bones, work my fingers to the bones, you know, and I feel like God is bringing me into a place of like trusting him, with things that I have always been very controlling of, like our homestead and our YouTube channel and my children. But it's scary. It's scary to let go of control of everything.
Yeah, it is. I opened up with a question like, are we crazy for doing this? And I don't know. I think it's actually what we're talking about now. It kind of sheds a new light on that question. I wasn't really planning to go this way, and I'm glad we are. But because are we crazy for doing this? And what I'm talking about is just like, it's kind of like chaos a lot of times. 5 kids. We have this property that's in some ways like too big for us. It's not really, but how many chickens do we have? We couldn't even count them. I mean, just ridiculous number of chickens, like 15 ducks, maybe 20 ducks or something. new projects starting all the time, this putting tons of hours into YouTube, living out kind of in the middle of nowhere, away from a lot of our friends. So are we crazy for doing this? I actually don't think that's the right question.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And you work and I homeschool. And
the question is, can we trust God enough in the storm?
Can you hold this for me?
And yeah, I think that's a better question.
I don't know that like this is the storm though. It doesn't feel like a storm to me. It just feels like I feel like God's personally showing me something more like a sustainable day in, day out rest in Him and like trust in Him. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like, because I actually feel like life is really good right now, and not really out of control. But what I see is more just like I'm never getting to the things that I truly value. I'm not getting to the things every day, not just like in life, but just every day, to the things I truly value, like time with the kids where we're just hanging out, or time with you where we're just hanging out, and time, very focused time with God. And honestly, I need to exercise, and I haven't been, and so I just feel like He's showing me like, yes, you'll get less projects done, you'll get less work done. So it can't be based on, oh, you're going to still be able to get the same amount of work done. But what He's showing me is I value work way more than I've been valuing Him and you and the children. Yeah. Man, I just really didn't realize how much I didn't trust God and how controlling I was. Hasn't changed yet. Working on it.
And I guess to clarify, I think maybe what you're talking about, it's like we're not talking about you trying to make people do things.
No.
Exactly when you say you're controlling. You're saying setting goals and prioritizing goals for getting things done in the way you spend your time at a higher level than you feel like you should. Not necessarily over people, but at a higher level. It's like what you're prioritizing with your time.
Yeah.
Is when you're talking about control, trying to make things happen.
Yeah, and also too, just like a thought process too in myself of like, if I do not get things done, if I do not make things happen, like our life will fall apart. Which is extreme, but that's what it feels like. Like YouTube will fall apart, our homestead will fall apart, our kids won't learn enough, our kids won't love God, like our marriage will fall apart. Like, like that's a lot of fear to live in. And I didn't realize how much fear I've been living in, and I don't want to anymore. I think that's more exhausting to me than any work I've been doing. And I think that's actually been making the work more exhausting.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Let's milk this cow. Ready? Alice says, that's all well and good, but let's get this milk out. Let's get this milk out and get back to business in the pasture, eating grass. Let those babies jump on. That's what she wants.
I already squirted all over her teeth.
Okay. Ladies only. We're gonna let her on nurse for a minute. See if we can get Miss Alice to let down some more of her cream. Let down some more milk here. I'm only letting her nurse on the back teats because they're the hardest ones for us to milk. So I'm trying to keep her off these front teats. Just blocking them. Should I put her back?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to take Alice. I always want to call her Dolly. I'm going to take her out to the back pasture. And I lead her out first because she's... And then we let the calves out and they'll come out to her. It helps to have a routine, and she is kind of learning this routine of, okay, now we're going to walk somewhere after we milk. And that makes it so much easier, because if she doesn't know what you're doing or doesn't have some idea what the routine is, you kind of have to just drag her along. All right, here come the calves. Bree let her out. Bree let the calves out. We're gonna have her come down in here. Come on, let's go. I'm just checking to make sure they've got enough forage out here. There's actually still some whole leaves of hay here. You can see I threw out the other day. So I know they're okay. Otherwise they would have eaten that. It's kind of just a little test. If they leave that hay there, then you know they've got other stuff. They've eaten a lot of the grass down out in this pasture, left a lot of this junk. And you can see the grass though in between's eaten down. We'll have them on here a couple more days. Then I'm hoping to, if I have time, come through and weed eat all the brush back here. The goats will not eat that plant. At least not when it's that big. And then let the grass, it'll give the grass a chance to compete and come back up a little stronger.
She might think that that one's in her too.
I know, she's a little confused because she has, the mama ducks have 11 ducks, and then there's 2 ducklings that think they're geese that run with this geese. They're the dirty ones actually because they've been roaming with the geese. This duckling on the right is actually with the geese. Oh no, they're all running together now. What are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? Oh, it's so confusing. Let's see if they can figure this out. Let's see if they can separate themselves back out.
Mama duck's in the lead with all the babies and the geese guarding.
These 2 roosters are having a crowing competition. It's this one's turn over here, I think.
Look how fast the geese look.
All right, bud, go. All right, this one's turn. Okay, buddy, it's your turn now. Come on, don't disappoint us. Twice in a row. This must be the dominant dude. We could do that all day, so we'll stop. All right, folks, trusting that telling our story is enough. This is gonna be our video for the day. And I think I'm gonna get to squeeze in a daytime edit, which I love. That way I'm not up late at night. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you in a video soon. So, goodbye.